348. Now, page 348, really we saw last time, but not everybody came on the Zoom call. So we're going to really quickly go through the sugya of Eruv Techumin. So there is a pasuk in Sefer Shemot, a pasuk in Parshas B'Shalach that discusses the mun, and it says over there, Shuvu ish tachtav, a person should remain in his place on Shabbat. Al yitzeh ish mimkomo b'yom hashivi'i. And a person should not go out of his place on the seventh day.
Yeah, what's the beginning? Yeah.
So the words before, Shavu ish tachtav, every person should sit in his place. Now, if I ask you, Erev Techumin, how far is your Techum on Shabbat? Meaning, how many amot do you have to go in every direction? So Isaac says you have 2,000. Where do you get this 2,000 from? You pulled it out of a magic hat? How do you know it's 2,000? So the Gemara tells us it's actually a 5-way Xereshov. The Gemara tells us we have here in the pasuk, Shivu ish tachtav. This is arba amot. What this means is, once a person leaves his tchum, we'll see the halacha is he cannot move more than arba amot. Now, ayet ishim komo elu alapayim mama. Manalan. How do we know this? Where do we know this from? Some of Chizda, we learn it from the word mimkomo. The word mimkomo, you have it in one pasuk, and then in another pasuk you have minisa, and from that pasuk you have vinisa, and the next pasuk says migivul, and from the pasuk of givul you have another pasuk that says chutz, and then from chutz we learn there's a pasuk umidotam mechutz la'er et pe'at kedma alpayim ve'ama. So you did a 5-way gzera shava. One pasuk to another pasuk, to another pasuk, to another pasuk. And then it finally says, chutz is measured as 2,000 amah. Where was this measurement of 2,000 amah? For chutz, when they have the Levite city, they had to leave 2,000 amot outside the city empty. All right? Or 1,000 amot empty, and then 1,000 amot of stuff they can plant there for the beautification. So from there, the Gemara says we learned the 2,000 amot. From that, it says a Gezerah Shava, 5-way Gezerah Shava that goes to Alpayim Amah. Now, is this Gemara telling us it's the Oraita, or is this Gemara saying this is an Asmachta? That's the Rabbanan, and they're leaning on this. The Gemara is not clear. However, there is a Mishnah in Mesechet Sotah that's Boy Bayoy, which means that was a day that Rabbi Gamliel was kicked out as the Nasi, and Rabbi Lazar was brought in. And on that day, they went through many halachot. And one of the halachot they dealt with was with what is the tchum? How far is it, and how do you know this? So listen to this. The Mishnah over there says that Rabbi Akiva had a pasuk. Rabbi Akiva says there's a pasuk that says as follows: Amidota michutz la'er et pe'at kedma alpayim be'amah. It should be 2,000 amah. We had the Levite city. Umikra acher omer mikir ha'ir vechutza elef amah. One place it says you have 2,000 amot outside the Levite city, and the pasuk right before it says 1,000. So which one is it? Says Rabbi Akiva. So Rabbi Akiva says, I'll tell you. Really, you only have 1,000 amot outside the city that you have to leave empty. What's the count of 2,000? The count of 2,000 is instructing you to count the tchum, where it ends. It's a mitzvah to figure out the tchum. That's what the pasuk is telling us. And Rabbi Yezer says, no, you don't have to learn the pasuk that way. You can learn 1,000, you have to leave open space, and 1,000 amot, you can plant things inside, like vineyards and stuff like that. So from this sot, the Gemara in Sotah, from the Mishnah in Sotah, and the Gemara says, what is Rabbi Elazar and what is Rabbi Akiva arguing in? Mar savar techumin deoraita. Rabbi Akiva holds leaving at 2,000 amot chum is deoraita, whereas Rabbi Elazar holds that it is only derabanan. Okay, now there is one more shita. So you have Rabbi Akiva and you have Rabbi Elazar. Now you have another shita. This is Yerushalmi. There's a Gemara Yerushalmi that the Rif brings on page 350 in your books. The Rif says there's a Yerushalmi that says beferish. How much is a tchum deoraita? And the Yerushalmi says 12 mil is deoraita. which means 24,000 amma. 24,000 amma is the oraita. 2,000 amma is a derabanan tchum. So according to the Yerushalmi, there are two tchums. You have a tchum of derabanan, which is 2,000 amma, and you have a tchum the oraita of 12 mil, which is 24,000 amma. Okay. So by the way, how much is 2,000 amma in our measurements? Say what?
1 mile.
1 amma is 1.5 feet.
So take out your phones and check how much is 2,000 amma.
2 amot, 1 meter. 1,000 meter. 1 kilometer. Yes.
How much feet? About 3,000 feet. So it's not, by the way, it's not very long. It's not very far. In an average walk at 3,000 feet, I checked it yesterday. They on ChatGPT. ChatGPT says average people take less than 10 minutes to walk 3,000 feet, which is your 2,000 amma.
Like half a mile.
Half a mile. So that's the tchum. That's what the whole of the tchum is. That's the tchum that we use. You're right. According to the Yerushalmi, it's a 12,000 mil. According to Rekiva, that itself is the oraita. So, but I just want to explain to you, it's half a mile. It's less than a 10-minute walk. For slow people, maybe 12, 13-minute walk. Once you pass that, you've already gone past the tchum. Okay, so it's something that's very practical. Now, so just to review the shitot, by the way, the Rambam is like the Rif, who says that there's a difference between the Yerushalmi and the Bavli, and there is a Doraita, tchum at 24,000 amot, 12 mil, and there is a Derabanan Derabanan tchum at 2,000 amot. However, Tosafot is of the opinion that we don't look at the Yerushalmi. Right? This is always the question. Do you look at the Yerushalmi or not? Right? Lahalacha. Should I look at the Yerushalmi, especially if I have the halacha brought in the Bavli? Right? The Bavli was later edited. The Bavli was later put together. And the Bavli had more time to go through the Sigyot. So usually, Lahalacha usually comes from the Bavli. So when you have a Bavli and you have Yerushalmi, should you even look at the Yerushalmi? Rif and the Rambam say, yeah, there's a 12,000, there's a 12 mil Doraita Tchum. Tosafot says, don't talk to me about Doraita Tchum. Other than Rabbi Akiva, no one else holds it's a Doraita Tchum. And therefore, lahalacha, l'maaseh, it's always going to be a Darabanan issue. The whole Tchum business, according to Tosafot, is always Darabanan. Now, we have the Shitot, Darabanan, Doraita. For us, 2,000 amot is the tchum, and you have to be careful. Now, where do you start counting these 2,000 amot from? So, where do you start counting from? So the last house, but how do you view it? So the Gemara, if you want to take a look on page 351, 352, the Gemara and Rashi explain something very interesting. If your city is not straight, okay, here's a perfect example. Here's this plate. You have a circular city. The Gemara, the Mishnah in Eruvin, and Rashi explains it, tells us you don't make the tchum from here. You have to box out this circle. You have the tchum always starts off in a rectangular square shape. Take a look at page 352. You'll see the diagram. There's a city. Okay, there's a built-up city, but the tchum doesn't start from this end of a part of the city. You have to first make it a square. Once you make it a square, now you start your 2,000 amot.
What's the idea?
That's the halakha. That's the halakha. Is that it starts?
It keeps it.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, it keeps it easier for you to stay in a box. Not stay in the box, because it's hard. Look at the cities.
Right.
Look at the
It's
city.
here,
How do
it's
you
there,
know?
it's not straight.
So,
So you want to make it straight, so you know where the tchum starts.
I'm sure they put poles there, right?
So I'm not sure how they make the hectare
Yes,
or not,
please put
but they
poles,
do measure it. They do the measuring. We'll see
measurement
soon.
with the
But the
pole.
number one thing to take out from this point of the Mishnah is that your tchum has to be squarish. So if you have a non-squarish city, you'll have to square it off. So you add on all that extra space. Okay? Then take a look. Now you have 2,000 amot in every direction. Your corners, because it's squarish, your corners have more. Your corners are 2,800 amot. Okay? So you have to know where you are, which way you're going, and how to measure it up. The Gemara deals with another question. Let's say I do have a square city, but it's not square. It is diamond. Okay? It's on a slant.
Right.
Should I square it off, which will now give me more space, or not? And the Gemara says no. Just because it's not squared in the directions of north, south, east, west, you don't have to, you will not square it off again. It's squared. You keep your 2,000 amot based on the diamond shape that you're in.
What
But
about the Eruv?
which Eruv?
When you have the Eruv, don't you count it from the side of the
The
Eruv?
Tzurba Petach? The Tzurba Petach? But you mean Eruv, you mean the Tzurba Petach?
No.
The strings?
Yeah.
That's a Tzurba Petach. We're not dealing with that here. We're dealing with home here at this point. Walking. Okay, now, the question is, what about if I have the city on a slant, but the city is not squarish on a slant? Okay? But I can square it off on the slant, and it'll be lesser space. Or, once it's not a square on the slant, should I square it off in the actual directions? So just take a look, page 354. That's right there. Here's the question. So you have the Chazon Ish and the Chai Adam. The Chai Adam says, if my city is on it's not squarish, right? But it's on a slant.
Yeah.
The Chai Adam says, what you're going to do now is you're going to square it off according to the directions of the world. The Chazon Ish says, you just square it off, even if it's on a slant. You just square it off, so you have lesser space. So according to the Chai Adam, your tehum starts much later, okay? Because so they're actually looking at the island of Manhattan. All right, this is Manhattan over here. So what's it called? The Chazon Ish says you square off wherever you are, and that's it. It's squared, even if it's on a slant. Chai Adam says no. You're going to square it off according to the directions of the world. You have a much larger area before you even start the 2,000 amot of the Tom. So you have to know where you are, what's the shape of your city, and where to start counting it from. Furthermore, Rabotai, there's something called a karpef. Karpef is basically a distance of 70 2/3 amot.
Apalam, скажи.
70 2/3 amot. According to the B Meir, when you start your home counting, even before you start squaring it off, you always have 70 2/3 amot extra. And then you start to square off, and then you have the 2,000 amot. According to the Chachamim, no, you don't always have that. Wherever the last house is, right? And wherever you're squaring off based on that, that's where the tchum is. That's it. That's where it starts from. According to the Rimei, you're always at 70 2/3 amot. But the Chachamim said, what happens if I have two cities? One right here and one right here. And in between them, there's 270 2/3 amot. There's 141 and 1/3 amot in between.
And what would you do?
Now what happens is, if I have 141 and 2/3 amot, less than that, exactly that or less, these two cities become one city. And the tchum now starts from here and from this side. In the middle is no tchum. Nothing. That's all connected. It's all one city. Meaning, and you have the diagram on page 355. You have the diagram on page 355. That means I can walk from here, walk through this whole city, walk through this 141 amot, walk through the next city, and walk another 2,000 amot this way. Because these two cities are within 141 amot between each other, they're all counted as one city now. And I could continue to walk and walk. And he writes here, towards the end,
141?
he says that in Eretz Yisrael, you'd be surprised that many, many towns and many, many cities are 141 amot within each other. And as such, they're all one Tehum. And you can walk from one place to another place, to another place, to another place, to different cities, and because they're all so close to each other. They're all within 141 amot. And therefore, they're all one big happy family. And the home starts from outside that area. So, and that the Chachamim are modeh to, and the Shulchan Aruch is like this Chachamim. The Ramah says that you always have 70 and 2/3 amot outside the last house. Shulchan Aruch doesn't say that. He says the only time you add the 70 and 2/3 is when you're trying to add two cities, and you have 270 and 2/3. Otherwise, it starts from where the last house is, and that's where you start squaring it all. Okay. Last but not least, what we saw last week, actually 2 weeks ago, what we saw was how do you do the measurements? So in the times of Chazal, they said you have to be very accurate to make these measurements, because Tchum is a Tchum. You have your place that you can go up to. So the Chachamim said, and you can find it on page 356. The Chachamim said you have to use a rope that is 50 amma, a 50 amma rope.
Just rope?
Yeah, a rope that's 50 amma.
You have to use this in Shabbat?
No, before Shabbat you're counting this. You're not doing this on Shabbat. Now, why do you want to use 50 amot rope? Because other big ropes, you're not going to be able to have a very good measurement, and you want to get a lot done also, right? So they said that is the measurement. Now, how do you measure? Let's say there is a ditch. There's a ground that's going down, or there's a mountain. So do I put the rope over the mountain?
No.
Do I put the rope into the ditch, or do I put it across?
Oh, no. You have to put it in the ditch because you walk in the
Chachamim
ditch.
said no.
You walk in the
Chachamim
ditch.
said no. Chachamim said you use the distance, the actual distance. You're not going up the mountain, and you're not going into the ditch. What you do is you get a rope with a stick on it, on the end of the one side, and you get a rope with another stick on the other end, and you go over the mountain and you hold it. One guy on this side, one guy on the other side, and you realize the actual distance in between. So you don't put it over the mountain, and the same thing with the ditch. You don't put the rope into the ditch. You put it over, and you count the actual distance. That's how you count the Tehum.
More than that.
You're right. Walking distance, whatever it is, right? But the Tehum is in that direction, 2,000 amot, not to do with how much steps I'm taking, 2,000 amot in that direction. So it goes that way. What about today? If I want to count the Tehum, do I have to go and pull out my 50 amah rope that I have in the shed that I haven't used in 2,000 years? Or can I use satellite imaging? Satellite images. Like, you have the GPS, you go on Google Maps, and they have the satellite that's able to tell you the distance and stuff like that. So according to Rabbi Melamed in his Panini Halacha, Rabbi Melamed says Chazal wanted you to use a 50 amma rope because it was the most accurate. Today, says Rabbi Melamed, perhaps the satellite imaging and measuring, and Rami wanted to say military grade satellites and military grade GPSs and imaging would probably be very accurate, and maybe that's what you can rely on to count the Tehum. Okay, so this basically, Rabotai, was now a review of what we learned last time when it comes to the halachot of the Tehum for Shabbat. So very, 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 very briefly, Rabotai, we saw that it doesn't just start, okay? There's a Tehum. It might be even Doraita, according to Rabbi Akiva, the 2,000 amos. According to most, 2,000 amos is Derabanan. According to the Yerushalmi, there's a Doraita Tehum of 12 mil, 24,000. Tosafot says it's always going to be Derabanan. Okay? Then we saw that when you're making the Tehum, you're counting it, you got to square off the city first. When you're dealing in a city, right now, you yourself somewhere. Rather, you're squaring off you're in a city, you have to square off the city in the directions of the world. Unless the city is already squared and even if it's on a slant, it remains on a slant. The Hayat Adam says if I have a city somewhat on a slant and I can box it off in a slant, still I won't box it off in a slant. I should rather box it off in the directions of north, east, west, and south, giving it a lot more area. Okay, whereas Chazon Ish wasn't so convinced of that. And then we saw 2 cities can be counted as one big city if there's less than 141 amot in between them. It can be considered one big city. And we learned how to measure as well. Okay, now Rabotai, we're going to come in. Yeah, maybe he's boxing it off in sections. He's boxing off that one section and then the other section. That's what I'm thinking. Or the editors here didn't do it right. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah. Okay. Now I will tell you, we're going to come to the new section, brand new stuff, and the last halachot this time around in the Tzurba series for Hilchot Shabbat. And the section that we're starting off is leaving the Tehum on Shabbat. All right. So this guy is on Hunter Mountain, right? As Rami, you gave that example last time. And he wants to go for a stroll. Wants to go for a walk on Shabbat. He doesn't realize that 10 minutes out of the place is already outside the Tehum. He walks about 3,000 feet, a little more than that. He's now outside the Tehum. What happens to him at this point? What can he do? Okay, so there is a Mishnah. There's a Mishnah in Masechet Eruvin, and we're going to just really quickly look at this Mishnah and look at the halachot that come out of this Mishnah. So 41b3 says the Mishnah, Mi shehotzihu nachrim or ruach ra'ah. If nachrim, the Goyim came and took this guy out of the tomb, right? They kidnapped the person, essentially. Or the guy had a ruach ra'ah, which means he went mental, all right? The guy went post. The guy went nuts. He didn't know what he was doing, and he walks out of the tomb. Ein lo ela arba amot. Now that he wakes up, wherever he is, he only has this arba amot. He can only stay in arba amot. He's outside his tomb. He's not allowed to go there. Now that you're there, you can only have your place. Your place is considered your dalet amos, right? Your dalet amos, that's you. Wherever you are, that's your dalet amos. So that's what he has. What?
You can get out. No problem.
If he's still with the ruach ra'ah, right? He's still deranged, and he comes back. Fine. But let's say he woke up. Now he feels better. Now, hichziruhu kilu lo yatsa. If the Goyim brought him back, or if he was nuts and he walked out and he came back in, and now he's back in the Tehum, kilu lo yatsa. He didn't go out. It's as if he didn't go out. He has his whole place. He has his whole city and the 2,000 amot that are around it. They took him to another city. So these kidnappers, or the guy went nuts and he went to another city. What happens now? Netanuhu bedir o basahar. Or they placed him in a fold or a corral. They threw him into a jail, gave him this big place, or they put him into some enclosure. Okay? Rabbi Gamliel, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah Oimrim, mehalech et kula. If he's in an enclosure, he can walk everywhere in that enclosure. He doesn't have to stay in arba amot of himself. He can walk in that whole enclosure because it's enclosed. Rabbi Yeshua, Rabbi Akiva, Omrim, Rabbi Yeshua and Rabbi Akiva says no. Ein lo el arba amot. Even if he was thrown into an enclosure, he can only stay in those arba amot. He cannot move around. And there's a story in Maaseh Shabbat. They were coming from a place called Mipalan Darisin. Okay? And they were going on a boat. Ve'efliga sfinat bayam. And their ship, they're sitting in the boat. Okay? And then the boat moved into the water and it left the Tehum. Okay? It left the 2,000 amot. So now they're outside of the Tehum. Rabbi Gamliel, Rabbi Elazar, Ben Azariah, Hilchu et Kula. Rabbi Gamliel and Rabbi Elazar on the boat. They walked the whole boat because they said it's an enclosure. There's walls on the side of the boat, right? There's walls on the sides of the ship. So they said it's an enclosure. We can walk all over. Rabbi Yeshua, Rabbi Akiva, lo zazu marba amot. Rabbi Yeshua and Rabbi Akiva, who said, I don't care where you are, in enclosure or not, once you're outside of your home, you only have your arba amot. So they only stayed in their arba amot. Okay? So that is the Mishnah. What does the Shulchan Aruch say? So take a look on page 358, and the Shulchan Aruch says, if Goyim placed them outside the Techumin, a pen, stable, cave, or another city that is walled for residential purposes, or if one was forced to leave the Tchum due to their unavoidable circumstances, or if he left the Tchum inadvertently and entered one of these enclosed spaces, and remembered once he was in it, says the Shulchan Aruch, Mahalach et Kulo. So if you left your Tchum, and now you're in an enclosure, but you left it not because you wanted to. It wasn't your will. It just happened. It was unavoidable. Someone forced you. But now you're in an enclosure. Says the Shulchan Aruch, you can walk the whole place. Usually when it comes to Hilchot of Eruv, we try to be more mekel. In most situations, we are more mekel. So therefore, he says you can go. But im yatsa lechutz letechumo ledat, but if he left the tchum with his knowledge, meaning he did it on purpose, even he's in one of these enclosures, he only has his 4 amot that he's in. So says Shulchan Aruch that the only time you can go with this kulav, I can walk the whole place if I'm in an enclosure. I didn't go there on purpose. It just happened. Right? I became deranged. Someone forced me in there. Unavoidable circumstances. Had to run out of the city, whatever it was. Then I can walk in this enclosed area. Okay? And enclosed area might even be if this other city that you're in now has an Eruv, Tzurba Pesach Eruv, right? Which could be considered an enclosure. So now I can walk in that whole place because I came there unwillingly. But if I went there willingly with dot and no need to do that, then I only have my arba amot. Now, what happens? Yatzaladat v'hechziru avdei kochavim. Yeah.
What do they do?
So very, very, very good question. So I remember I heard somebody said 10 tvachim high, so it's no issue of tchum. I'm not sure. Is it?
They're supposed to leave on a certain day, right? Or a certain day.
No, they left Tuesday.
The Gemara also says that the filter of the boat itself is ready.
Isn't that the case of Rabbi Yossi and
Rabbi Yeshua and Rabbi Akiva. Right. So they were on the boat and the boat went out. Rabbi Yeshua and Rabbi Akiva didn't move. So you would have to say, according to this, that it was less than 10 tvachim. And according to Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Gamliel, they moved around the whole thing because they said it's cool. It's once I'm in an enclosed area. Now, what happens? Shulchan Aruch says if he left intentionally and the goyim brought him back, the guy left the tchum and they brought him back. So he says he only has these 4 amot to walk in. But umiu mechziru leiroi kuloi ka'arbra amos v'yifilu yotza ledat v'chazer ledat. So says the Shulchan Aruch, if I left but I came back to my city, then I have the right to walk in my whole city. Because at the end of the day, I'm back to my original place. And my original tchum goes back into place. So when this says you only have your arba amot, is when I left my city with knowledge, knowing what I was doing, and I went somewhere else. Now I only have arba amot. But if I was returned back to my city, or I came back to my city, I have my whole city again because I'm back in my original city. Now the Ramah says this is only true if there is an Eruv, meaning his city has an Eruv. And the Beit Meir wants to know where the Ramah got this idea, and says it doesn't make a difference if his city has an Eruv or not. Once he's back in his original city, he has his original Tehum. Okay, so this was the halachot of leaving the Tehum. If you leave it willingly, you only have your arba amot wherever you are, and if you're in another city, you only have arba amot. But if you go back to your city somehow, you have that whole city again. And if you went somewhere,
You're allowed to go back?
if you went back, you're not allowed to go back. But if you ended up going back, okay, then you have your whole city again. Once you left at home, you only have your arba amot. You can't go more than that. The guy didn't listen. He came back, right? So he came back. Now he has his whole city again. That's the halacha. Okay, let's now talk a little bit about Eruv Tehum.
That's 2,000 Amud, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
From here, A to Z 2000. And it's
No. Go back to the diagram. Go back to your diagram on page 352.
okay.
You have the city, the whole city. The 2,000 amot start from the edges. 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, 2,800, 2,800, 2,800, 2,800. That's what you have.
Okay. I
That's your
understand.
tehum.
No, my question is, if we went back 1,000.
So here's the
decide to
story.
Go back.
He comes out of here, right? He
Yeah.
leaves this screen.
Yes.
Now he cannot move. He came back. He was not allowed to, but he came back. Now he can walk this whole thing. Okay, fine. Now there's something called Eruv Tehum. Is making an Eruv Tehum, which is recentering where I am. Instead of making my residence in the city in my house where I am, I make my residence somewhere else.
You're gonna come from there.
And now I get to count from there.
From my house.
Okay? Because I can get 2,000 amot in every direction, right? So if I put my residence in another place, I'm now, you're not gaining more. You're not going to make here my place and I'm getting all this and that. Maybe you will. We'll see. But what happens is I'm recentering. So I'm over here. So now I get 2,000 amot this way. But now I can only go back 2,000 amot this way. Okay? So just to show you. So just show you. If this guy was over here, all right, just an example. If he was over here in the middle, he had 2,000 amot this way, this way, this way, and this way. And now he wants to go this way, more on Shabbat, more than 2,000. So he makes his center right over here now. So he can walk an additional 2,000 amot this way. He now gained this amount over here, but at the same time, he's losing on this point because he cannot go back this way. Right? He can go only 2,000 amot. He cannot go past the other way. Okay? So this is what you're going to do when you make an Eruv Tehum. But how do you make an Eruv Tehum? And what is an Eruv? So there is a Mishnah in Eruvin, and the Mishnah there tells us that a person was walking. It was getting late at night, meaning it was Friday afternoon, and it was starting to get dark. And he is too far from his house. The house is too far from him. So he wants to make it home. He wants to say that he's over there. He wants to make his residence further down to give him more space to walk forward. Okay, so he can get to his house. So what does he do? Let me just get the Gemara. Hold on one second. So the Gemara. Nun. Okay, here we are. Here we go. It's starting to get dark for him. And he sees in front of him, in his sight, he sees a tree or he sees a fence that he recognizes. He can say, Va'amar, and he says, what does he say? Shevitati bi'ikaro. Let me make my residence at that trunk. Mehalach mimokom ragla va'ad ikaro alpayim ama, umikaro va'ad beto alpayim ama, nimsa mehalach meshachashecha arba'at alapim ama. So what did he do? He's at the edge of town over here, right? He only has 2,000 amot, but he says, I see this right over here. I see this white label. I know this label. Make this my residence. So I now, ki'ilu, I'm here. So I have 2,000 amot. These are having this direction. I get here. I still have 2,000 amot, and I can make it home now. And he makes this his residence on Shabbat. This is what he's doing.
Becomes his city.
That becomes his place of stay. Right. That becomes his makam. his home base. So even though his home base is over here, right? He should only have 2,000 amot this way. He says, no, I'm here. So I have these 2,000 amot because I'm here. I'm actually here. And then I have another 2,000 amot and I can make it home. And he can do that. And so according to this part of the Mishnah, what did he have to do? He just had to say, that is my base. That's what the Mishnah said. That what? Va'amar shivitati bi'ikaro. No action. He just said, I'm that's where I am. Okay. Says the Gemara on this piece. The Gemara says, hold on. What does this mean that he's in this place, that he's just saying it? So says the Gemara, saying it's not only enough. Amarava vehu dehi rahit leikaro mate. The only time this works is if he would run there, he could get there before it's Shabbat. Meaning, I cannot say that's my place if I can't make it there before Shabbat. So he says again, that's if he would reach it before nightfall, that actual place. He doesn't have to actually reach it. He can go very slow. As long as it was feasible for him to get there before nightfall, he can make that his place. Okay? So that is one way to make their Tchum according to this Mishnah. The next way it says, Im eino makir. He doesn't know the landmark. He doesn't know this tree. O she'enu baki b'halacha. He doesn't know the halacha. V'amar shivitati bimkomi. And he said, let my residence be at my present location. He says, wherever I am, that should be my tehum, where I am right now. Zacha lo mekomo alpayim ama lechol ruach. Okay? So he says, I'm right over here. Right? He's at this point right now. He doesn't recognize no tree. He doesn't recognize anything. He says, where I am is my home base. That's my makom. This is where I am. And now he has 2,000 amot in every direction. Okay? Now, the Gemara, the Mishnah actually says, who is this? This guy who just says it, this is my place. Is a poor man who makes an error with his feet. Amar Rabbi Meir. Anu lanu ela ani. This making an error without food is only for an ani, for a poor person. And Rabbi Meir is implying that someone who's not poor or has food on him has to use food. Rabbi Huda Omer, ehadani ve'ehad asher, lo amru maravim bepat. They did not say you have to make an error with pot. Ela lahakel al ha'ashir shelo yitzeh ve'yarev beraglav. They didn't ever said you have to make an error with bread, says Rabbi Huda. The only reason why you're allowed to make an error with food is because the rich guy doesn't want to leave his house, so he sends his agent to go take bread, and he puts bread in a different place, and he says, oh, this is my master's makom, right? This is my master's home base. So it's for the rich guy. But really, your feet, where you are, says Rabbi Huda, is what makes the error. What makes the error of the home. Says the Shulchan Aruch, what's the halacha? Shulchan Aruch, page 361. Ketzad asiyat eruv. How do you make an error of the home? Im rotzeh lelech besof atchum o betocho, right? And he wants to go there, v'lachshik sham, and if it should get dark there, zehu ikar mitzvato. This is the ikar of how to make an erev tahum, said the Shulchan Aruch. To be there at nightfall when the Shabbat starts, I am at my home base. Okay? Even if he didn't say, this is my place. It became dark. And he was quiet. Says Shulchan Aruch, an erev tchum in its ikar is where you are at the start of Shabbat. Even if I don't say anything, that is my makom.
You have like You have 2,000 or more here, right? So let's say this city is within 2,000 or more.
What happens to the city now?
Now you can.
We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that. Give us minutes. We get into that. Right now, we're figuring out how to make an Erev Tchum. So the first thing is being there. But then the Shulchan Aruch says, he doesn't want to bother himself to wait there till night. Right? I don't want to be there at the start of Shabbat. I want to be in shul on the start of Shabbat. But I want my makom to be my makom. So what does he do there? He goes there during the day, right? On Friday, Thursday, whatever it is.
Between the two towns.
And what he puts, v'yiniach sham, mazon shtei seudot. He has to put food for him for 2 seudot. Kol echad ve'echad kifi mezono, im hu choleh. Right, as if he was sick. He told him to put an amount that he would eat for 2 seudot if he was sick. If he's a big guy, then he should put more, he says. Kshisha beitzim, mipat or mikol davar, or for anything that you use for bread. And it has to be what you use for 2 seudot. So if you take a look in the Rabbi Yosef Zvi Rimon over here in Halacha Mimekora, he gives the advice, like you said, the peanut butter or the jelly, because all you need is 2 seudot. Now, the Mishnah Berurah in source 49 says, hold on, it's not just 2 seudot, it's 2 seudot for every person. Not like the Erev Chatzerot where we say once you have 18 people, and that's it. You don't have to do any more per person afterwards, right? By the Erev Tehum, it's per person. You have to put for 2 seudot. So what do you gain by putting a jar of jelly or a jar of peanut butter? Because you don't use so much of peanut butter or jelly per person. You need enough for 2 seudot. So I put a shmear of jelly, put a second shmear of jelly, and that's it. That's one person. Another shmear, I can go. One big bottle of a jelly can be for lots of people. So that's a way to use it, so you can get a lot of people to use that Erev Tehum.
Put a jar of peanut butter, close it up. You have certain bears over there, they're going to eat it out. Put some pepper on top.
So they don't come to it. Right. So because it has to exist by nightfall, right? Now, the Gemara in Eruvin says there's something else that you can do. Let's say I want it to home. I want to make my place somewhere, but I don't always want to use it. Some weeks, yes, some weeks, no. So the Mishnah says, the Gemara says there. The Gemara says, the Tanya, Hareini me'er l'shabbatot shel kol hashana. I want to make this error for the whole year. Ratziti elech, lo ratziti lo elech. And I want to go, I go. If I don't want to go, I don't go. That's something with Yom, Eruv, Eruv. If I did it during the day, Friday, it's going to be an Eruv. When it gets dark, Rabbi Shimon Omer, Eruv, Eruv, Chamer, ain't Eruv. What happens if it already became Shabbat? I made a whole year Erev Tchum. Okay? But I'm not sure if I want to use it this week. I can't figure it out until the morning. Okay? Can I, in the morning, decide that I want to use it or not? All right, so the Chachamim and Rabbi Shimon argue. Rabbi Shimon says yes. The Chachamim say no. What's the halacha l'maaseh? Chachamim said no.
Right.
But we have another yesod when it comes to Erev. We always want to be Meiko. So take a look at the Shulchan Aruch. He says, until the next morning, he can rely on it. He doesn't have to make up his mind the night before. He can wait till the next day. I want to use it or not. As long as I have this Erev Techum set up that I planned it for the whole year. Okay.
What's the shayla? Set up the whole year.
But my thing is, some weeks I'm using it, some weeks I'm not. Some weeks I want to have that direction, but some weeks I want to go the other direction. I don't want to use that. All right. So he plays it out. He plays it by ear. And I'm going to use it. I'm not going to use it, depending on how the week is working for me. Okay. Now, so this is the part that gets a little tricky, Rabotai, which is we already said what he gains in one side, he loses to the other side. Right? If you're gaining 2,000 amot in one direction, you're going to lose it from the other direction. Take a look at this Rambam on page 365 of that. There's a Rambam over here. And the question really is, if I'm in the city, okay, if I'm still in this city, meaning, okay, I made my Tchum go this way, okay, but my 2,000 amot still includes my entire city. You guys are following? I moved my Tchum to one direction. So I lost 2,000 amot outside the city where I'm at. But the whole city is still inside my current 2,000 amot this way. So the whole city is still inside the Tchum. So there's a Gemara that we're not looking into this Gemara inside, but the Gemara seems to say that this city, Na'aset lo ha'ir kula ka'arba amot. The whole city is going to be considered just arba amot for him, because the whole city is inside the Tchum, and so it's closed off. It's his city. It's where he is. It's his arba amot. It's only considered arba amot, so he still has another 1,996 amot outside the city.
The whole city's in
His whole city is inside his. So he moved his residence, right? He moved his place.
outside the city.
So he doesn't have outside the Tchum of the city. But his Tchum, 2,000 amot in this direction, still has the city inside, the whole city. So since the whole city is inside, it's considered arba amot. It can be 5,000 amot, but it's considered arba amot for him, because the whole city is inside his Tchum. And now he has an additional 1,996 amot outside of that. So take a look at this Rambam. Take a look at this Rambam, Rabotai. One who leaves the city on Erev Shabbat and leaves food for 2 meals at a distance from the city within the Tchum, and by doing so establishes this is his residence for Shabbat. It's considered as if he resides for Shabbat in that place where he left for 2 meals, even if he returns to the city for Shabbat and spends the night in his home. This is called Eruv Techumin, which we already know. On the following day, the person may walk 2,000 amot from the place of his Eruv in all directions. Accordingly, when he walks 2,000 amot from his Eruv on the following day, he may only walk to the end of his limit within the city. See, the Rambam says you don't consider it 4 amot. You consider it what you have. But then he says, the medina mumlaat, it was swallowed up bitoch, right? It would be bitoch. It was swallowed up within his limit, meaning his 2,000 amot includes the whole city. Then what? The whole city. Kula ka'arba amot ve'yashlem midatoh hutzala, and now he still has outside this as well. You need a visual? Give me a pen and a pencil, and I'll show you. You have a paper and a pencil? No. It's I need to show it to you. Anyone have a pencil? You have a writing instrument?
Yeah, we have
I have a marker. This paper I can use. No, I mean, it's going to go through. Okay, here. I'm going you have paper? I can use the back of this over here to show you. Okay. This is his city. All right? This is his city. Okay? So he should have a Tchum based on the city this way, 2,000 amot. All right? What he does now this city, by the way, this itself, okay, is, let's say this is 1,000 amot. The whole city is 1,000. Okay? It's 1,000 amot. He makes his residence over here. So now he has 2,000 amot this way. And he has 2,000 amot this way. So you would think his 2,000 amot, if this is another 1,000 amot here. Okay? So he's here. Now he made this his residence. So he has 2,000 amot this way. So you would think he has to stop over here. Right? That's it. So the Gemara, and the Rambam explains this Gemara, that's not true. Because his 2,000 amot includes his whole city. The whole city now is considered arba amot. This is no longer 1,000. This is now 4.
4 amot?
This is now 4. The city is closed off. The city is your arba amot. It is your house.
How?
It's Tzurba Pesach, whatever it is. It's considered an enclosure. It's your arba amot.
What
To
happens?
clarify, the Techumin that he made is only within 1,000 of the city, not 2,000.
Right, so therefore.
So 1,000.
What happened?
Right, and then 1,000 the city.
Another 1,000.
He's right here. He has 2,000 amot this way now. So he has 1,000 here, 1,000 here. He's within 2,000. The city ends here. So this is considered 4 amot.
How much?
So since he had 1,000 here and 4 here, he has 996 over here.
Got it. Okay, got it.
When he's.
But the people in that city, it doesn't apply to them.
No, 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 no,
no.
It's muvlat, Ken.
But it's not muvlat, it's where it reaches into the city, but doesn't.
Let's say,
The whole city.
let's say,
Dalet amot.
here,
If you're taking the whole city is muvlat, then it's like that whole city is considered your in it itself, it's considered that is your reshut, and you have
Yeah.
another.
so if he was over here, if he was over here, okay, if he was over here, and now his 2,000 amot ends over here in middle of the city, that's it. He stops right here. He can't go further. He can't go further. It's only if the city is still within his new tehum, then the city is considered 4 amot, that he can have the remainder coming out. Okay, so that is the Gemara. That is the way that Rambam understands this. Okay.
So if it ends inside.
If it ends in the middle of the city, then that's it. He only can go up to there in the city. If the city is included inside his tchum, he has outside of it as well. The Torah, on the other hand, doesn't say it this way. The Torah says that if any part of the city is within his new tehum, if any part of it, read it. Torah argues that even if the city in which one spent the night is not entirely contained, one may walk throughout the city. In his opinion, the Gemara limiting travel based on the person's new tehum applies only to traveling beyond the city. So says the Torah, he doesn't have to be entirely inside the tehum of his new tehum. Even if it's not entirely inside the tehum, you can walk in the whole city.
The Rama's not saying anything different.
You're saying the Rambam didn't say no. The Rambam just saying you have it more afterwards.
No, they're talking about two different cases. One is where it touches, one is
Yeah.
where it moves not. Those are two different cases. One is where it goes into it, but it doesn't totally swallow it up. Another is where it swallows it up. There's two different cases. It could be in the tourist case and a Hanabi, you know, that's.
You're saying, but he writes no, but the Rambam writes even within the actual city, if one walks further than one only has 4 amot now. He cannot move further than this.
No, absolutely.
And he says, and it's not correct. The Rambam doesn't not what the Rambam is saying not correct.
Maybe.
That's the way he's understanding it. The Shulchan Aruch writes in accordance with the Rambam, but the Ramah rules leniently like the Torah and says that even if the city is the 2,000 amot stops in the middle of the city, the Ramah says you have the whole city. You can still walk the whole city. The Rambam says if your 2,000 amot stop in the middle of the city, you have to stop over there. Shulchan Aruch goes with the Rambam. Okay. The Mishnah Berurah says this is only true. What the Ramah says and the Torah says this is only true if you slept in that city that night, because sleeping there kind of makes it you're also techum, okay? Because you're actually there at night, so you have the techum of you have the boundary of that city, so you get to walk in the whole city. But if the Mishnah Berurah says that the Torah and the Ramah would agree that if I did not sleep in that city, then I can't walk around the whole city, okay? Cannot walk around the whole city because I wasn't there at that night.
Question. Let's say the person walked 2,000 amot.
Yeah.
He came to the city and ate, and can he go back again 2,000?
He's within the 2,000 amot.
Yeah.
He's within.
No.
If he's within, he's within.
This is 2,000 amot. He finished. That's it.
He came out.
He's in the house. Yeah, only 2,000 amot.
Where is he? Show me on this map. Where is he?
Вот отсюда он пришел, сюда пришел.
Outside or he's still inside? Once he leaves, he has to stay in those 400. He's done.
That's inside. But
He can go back the other way now. Yeah.
Another 2,000.
He can go the whole city and another 2,000. Yeah, you can walk this the whole day. Yeah, keep going around in circles. No problem.
Получается, что это
Okay.
больше 2,000.
Okay, Abutai. A few last ideas before we finish up the sugya, Abutai. There is a machloket, Rambam and the Ravad, whether or not you should say a beracha for an Eruv Tehum. Making Eruv Tehum, do I say? Do I say it or not? Erev Tavshilin we do.
We do Erev Tavshilin.
So you do Erev Tehum or not? So the Rambam says, yeah. Yeah, the Rambam says you make a bracha. The Rambam says you make a bracha, and you make it, and then you say the lashon with this eruv. I can use it for this. I can walk here. I can walk there. Okay. The Ravad says no. What are you making a bracha for? What's the mitzvah here? Eruv Tehum is a mitzvah. What mitzvah is happening here? So the Magen Mishnah goes into an arichas, and he basically says, nope, it is. There is a reason to make it. There's they're making a heker, you're making a mitzvah, you're making something, making sure you're not going out of the place, and therefore it is a mitzvah, and therefore you should make a bracha. And what? So you don't come to carry. You're not over. You're not going to. Right, the matter of the gezer of the Rabbanan that you can do things. Right, so then you can make the bracha. And the Shulchan Aruch rules that one does make a bracha when making an Erev Tehum. So Rami, when you made the Erev Tehum, you made the bracha. You didn't end up making it, or you didn't. You just put the peanut butter. It works. It works. I mean, bracha's never makif. But yeah, Shulchan Aruch says that you would make a bracha. Let's take a look. Source 61, page 369, Rabotai. 369, source 61. Kishemaniach Eruvei Techumin Mevarech. Shulchan Aruch says it clearly. Al mitzvat Eruv. Okay, so the same bracha you make for the other Eruvin, you make for mitzvah of this. Then you say, Bezeha Eruv, with this Eruv, Yeh Muterli, Leilech, Memokom Ploini, Alpai, Mamo, Lechol Ruach. V'me'arv l'rabim, Oimrim, Yeh Muterli, Ploini, Ulploini, or Livnei Mokom Ploini, that they can walk in all directions. 2,000 amot. So, yeah, this is the way you make the Eruv Tehum. Okay. Now, the question is as follows. Can I just make an Erev Tehum for no reason? Meaning I just want to walk that way for no reason. I just want to go. I have nothing to do, and therefore I want to make an Erev Tehum. Right? No, forget the Bracha Levatala issue. Can I? This whole idea of making an Erev Tehum, how was it established? Was it established only for mitzvah or not? In fact, the Gemara in Eruvin, based on what Al says, Rab Yosef, Ein Marvin Ela Ledvar Mitzvah. It only should be done for a Dvar Mitzvah. Gemara said, you only do an Erev Tehum for a Dvar Mitzvah. So, what? You want to go to Minyan, okay? The Baal Halachot Gedalot. He says, in Meniach Erev, the Mezel Davar HaRishus, the guy wanted to put an Erev for Dvar Rishut. Or if one was invited to an optional meal, l'sudat harishut, or anything that's what's it called optional, he has no permission to go. That's what he says. What? Optional. No, you don't have to be there. You have your own sudat shiva. He wants to go to some kiddush somewhere. Okay, let's take a look. And he says, my tama, that we don't allow things for options. You know, when we're allowing things, the Rabbanan said don't do something, then we're allowing it. We're only allowing it for some reason, for a good reason. No reason, don't do it. Okay, the Rambam in source 64, the Rambam says, also, Ein Marvin Eruv Techumin, El Dvar Mitzvah. Okay, he wants to go to Beit Avel, or Lemishta, Shul Nesuyin, he wants to go to Sheva Brachot, or Lahakbul Pnei Rabbi, or Chavera, he wants to go and see his Rebbe, or see his friend. Shabbat Min Haderech, L'Chayotzevei, his friend just came back from something, he wants to see them. Or Pnei Hayira, Kigayin Shaya, Roitze Livroyach, Min Hagoyim, or Min Alistim, B'Chayotzevei. So says the Rambam, you have to have a good reason. Either for something good, some sort of mitzvah, or for some, saving yourself. The im Eruv sheloila echad mikol elu. If he did an Eruv Techum for not one of these reasons, ela ledivrei harishut, but he did it just for rishut, nothing to do. I just want to walk around, right? Harei ze Eruv. It's considered an Eruv. Okay. If the guy made an Eruv, he wasn't supposed to do it, but he made it, it works. The Eruv works. Okay? Shulchan Aruch, it rules in accordance with the Rambam. And the Ramah adds, listen, I'll tell you some other mitzvot, says the Ramah. He wants to go for a walk. Walking is a mitzvah. It's Einik Shabbos. It's important to walk. You want to go for a nice stroll. Okay, so the Ramah wants to say, listen, a lot of things can be mitzvah. All right, anything that you can make shalom bayis mitzvah, better for you mitzvah, good vibes mitzvah. Anything can be. If you can do it rightly, you make it a mitzvah, and then it will be permissible to do. Okay, now. The Shmirat Shabbat Kechata brings another important halacha, and he says you have to put your Eruv in a safe place, and it must remain intact for all of Benish Mashot. So when it's getting dark, it has to still be there. At the start of Shabbat, it has to be there.
What does it mean you make an Eruv to say?
You have to use food to make the Eruv to home, right?
So where are you going to put this food?
Well, the one that we use, right, is food. I don't know if this practical people use just, I'm here. I mean, I guess if you're here, yeah. That's the ikra. Shulchan Aruch said.
Or if you're traveling.
Right.
No,
right. You can say that place is my place.
Let's say I'm going to Hewlett, 2,000 amot, I have to bring it my.
I don't think 2,000 amot. I don't think there's an issue with walking from here to Hewlett. It's old city. It's
all jungle in between.
When the house is
let's say Brooklyn, whatever, Queen. I mean, my Eruv is supposed to be there.
You have to first square out where you are. Okay, once you square out where you are, then you have 2,000 amot. So you have to figure that out. You have to find a place and put it where it's going to be in a place to allow you.
On that side?
No, it has to be somewhere that gives you 2,000 amot in those directions. I remember 2,000 amot again, Rabotai. How much is the distance we said? 10-minute walk, which is about 3,000 something feet. So it's not really a lot of place.
So I have to save it in the forest somewhere over there.
Yeah. Oh, so now you have to make sure it's not going to be eaten. So you have to make sure it's not destroyed. If it's destroyed, it's not effective. And it's considered if you did not place the Eruv at all. If it's destroyed or eaten after dark, so let's say Shabbat came, and now the beer got to it. You forgot to put the pepper on the peanut butter, okay? And the beer got to it.
Okay.
Even if the one who placed the Eruv did not eat from it, still it's going to be an Eruv, because once it's was there on Shabbat, it's good. If after the bracha one says through this Eruv it will be permissible to walk 2,000 in every direction, if one did not say anything, the Eruv is the Kashmir Chata says if I didn't say this, if I didn't say after the bracha b'zeh Eruv yeh mutar li leich l'mocher mimakom ploini alpayim amad l'chol ruach v'im lo amar, he didn't say this, einu Eruv. It's not an Eruv. But if he said this is bread is for the Eruv, then it works. So if he didn't say anything at all, the Shmit Chata wants to say it's not an Eruv. You have to say something. Yachol aniach Eruv al yidei shliach, v'yer mashliach b'zeh Eruv yeh ploini mutar leilech, and so forth.
And show even like storefronts.
Right. So right. I did see. He wants you to know what you're doing. Want to know what you're doing. You asked again. What did you say? You said it has to just be a house, or it could be something else, right?
The houses are close to each other. It's all part of the same city, but what's the house, and then there's the store, and then there's the factory, and then
I believe that's all fine. I think even a toll booth or something like that, where someone has like some, yeah. And this way, you're making another one.
food means what?
There would be food in there, people would stay in there, would be like a dirty, but stuff like that, that would keep on stressing.
That's a big question. That's a good question.
Okay, so just to review, if a person is spending Shabbat within a residential area, like we have, all houses everywhere, such as a city, town, or village where the houses are close together, 70 amot or less from each other to be exact, the 70.66 amot or less from each other to be exact. Tchum Shabbat established measuring 2,000 amot from the last home in the city, that's 70.6 amot from the previous house. Okay, so 70.6 amot from the last house. Every house is between 70.6 amot between each other. If that stops, then that's where it ends. Then you will square off the city, and then you will have your 2,000 amot in every direction. That's how you establish. Okay, just to end off, what happened if I make an Eruv Techum for everybody, and not everybody knows about it? I put a bunch of jars of Kirkland peanut butter. Okay, so I made it for the whole base water, and nobody knows about it. Does it work for them if they know about it or not? No, but I put pepper on top of it.
Usually we know rabbis make it.
So one uses his own food to establish an area for many people, and he says this is an area for all the inhabitants of the city, provided that there's enough food for 2 meals. And then you get it for them, you acquire for them, but it doesn't work. You have to inform them. And the Eruv is valid for anyone who is informed before Shabbat, even if they only finally decide to rely on it after dark and not before Shabbat. You have to know that the Eruv is there. Okay, if you don't know the Eruv is there, you cannot use it. Basically, you have to know about it before Shabbat. You can decide I want to use it or not on Shabbat, but you have to know about it, that it is there before Shabbat. So I will tell you, this kind of ends the sugya of Eruv Techum and the Hilchot of Eruvin. We just want to mention 2 machshavos, and then we'll end off over here. The Pnin Halacha tells us an interesting idea when it comes to Techum of Shabbat. He says the whole idea of the Techum symbolizes a fundamental transformation in human posture that took place on Shabbat. The transition from traveling in order to earn a livelihood to dwelling in peaceful completeness. Meaning, Shabbat is about I'm in one place, and life can be okay in one place. Okay? You don't have to always travel, and that's the busy of the weekdays. I'm going this and that and that. Shabbat, we want you to refocus on the importance. I don't need to go somewhere else to get something. I have it all here. My family, they're all I need, right? I have my Torah, I have my mitzvot, I have my Bekineset. I'm good. I don't need all these million places to go. I have my I have my boundaries. And this is what he says as an idea of this for Shabbat. The Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rav Menachem Mendel Schneerson, offers a different approach. And he says that Techum reflects the importance of remaining spiritually anchored and never departing from the protective confines of the camp of Israel. And Lubavitcher Rebbe says, the idea of Techum is not just for Shabbat, but for all week. That you have to stay rooted to Mahaneh Israel. You cannot let yourself leave the boundaries. You have to stay within boundaries. So similar ideas from Rabbi and from the Lubavitcher Rebbe.
Stay a Jew.
You have to not to stay a Jew. You have to be very well connected to Judaism and Jewish people and the whole to do. So we'll tell you, Baruch Hashem, today was the Baruch Hashem, we had the Siyum. You had beautiful food in front of you. Everybody enjoy. And just want to say a few words before we do Arvit about the Tzurba Rabbanan series that we've been learning so far. Baruch Hashem, we had the Zechut now. This is the 92nd Shir in Hilchot Shabbat. Overall, I think we've given already over 200 Shiurim in the Tzurba Rabbanan series, as we started with volume 10, and we're currently on volume 22. and volume 23 is already out. Now, with the Oilam's permission, I don't want to jump into 23 next week. I want to go back to the earlier Tzurba series where we dealt with Hilchot Pesach. As Hilchot Pesach is coming up, so until Pesach, the next 3 weeks or so, I want to focus on Hilchot Pesach from the Tzurba Rabbanan series. So we'll go through the Tzurba, but on those topics, on Pesach. And Be'ezrat Hashem, after Pesach, we'll start off with the next volume, which continues in the Shulchan Aruch Orach Chaim, in Hilchot of Rosh Chodesh, and Kiddush Levana, and the like. Now, I want to, as I have at this time, I want to thank the Olam for Shalom Shadron shares a story that when he started giving shiurim, he was a young man, he just got married, and people in the shul, they invited him to come speak, and he had like 2-3 people, and they were falling asleep every day. And they didn't show and stuff like that. And Shalom Shadron would come give shiur. And one day he said, "This is no point. I'm not coming anymore. As long as listening, they don't show up, and they show up, they sleep. What's the point?" So he stopped coming. So one of the older men sees him and says, "Why'd you stop coming?" He says, "I stopped coming because no one's listening." He says, "You think we need your shiur? We wanted you to come give shiur so you can learn how to give a better shiur. So we don't really need your shiur. We're not listening. But we wanted you to develop your shiur, your method of shiurim and your flow and stuff like that." So a lot of times, not a lot of times, but sometimes I have to think of that way as well. So Baruch Hashem, Shkoyach, for allowing me to develop my developing my shiur style and the ability to go through a sugya and to present it sometimes very fast, sometimes a little bit more barichas, and depending on the sugya. So Zat Hashem, this should not be the end, but should be a continuation and learning the halachot. They said that Tzurba Rabbanan series said they're going to be about 30 volumes in total, 30 English volumes in total. So we're up to 23, only started with 10. Okay, so we're 12 in, we're starting our 13th. So we have another 17 to go through just to finish the cycle. And then it's back over again. Okay. And just one other plug. There is a Smichat Chaver program that became very popular, and it's around many shuls and places like that. Some people wanted it here, but we need an oilam that is committed, and we can turn the Thursday night shiur into the Smichat Chaver shiur, which is also halachic shiur, which is run a little differently. It's a little bit more interactive, a little bit more exciting. Apparently, they're going to show me how it works if we're going to do it. I spoke to the rabbi who runs the program. He lives in Eretz Yisrael. He said basically it starts off with the first 5-10 minutes, this questions. Like, what do you do in this situation? What do you do in this situation? What do you do in this situation? So it gets everybody very excited. And then you go through the sugya and you bring all the sources and stuff like that. And this program has been going around for a while now, and it's in many places. If the Olam is interested and people are telling me, yeah, we want to do it, we can get this Smichat Chaver program here. They would, if we start after Pesach. That's when the new Seder Limud starts with them. Okay, so Zat Hashem, you guys will let me know what we want to do with there. Okay, we have Minyan, Rabbi Chaim Shomer, Tzak Baruch Hu Zakon Yisrael. Lefichach Yival Torah Mitzvot Shneimar, Adonai Chafetz Lema'an Tzidko Yagdil Torah V'Yagdil.